So, motivation. I'm sure it's something that many of us has got, but it's also something that a decent amount of people dread. Especially when it comes to doing what they have a passion for. I think we find motivation for whatever we experience or whatever we encounter, as well as not to mention from those who inspire us to do these things. If you're really interested in doing something, and I mean if you're really determined to do it, as you really think about it, is there really a reason for you to do it? Do you step back and ask yourself, what is the point of all of this? Can I make this really work for me and for others? When I become someone who lacks the motivation for making, one of my lousy videos for my lousy YouTube channel, there's going to be something that holds me back from immersing myself into the creative force that I was keen into getting my head around in the first place. And it's kind of weird seeing how, just like most of us have really clear goals in mind in which, we want to go out and do all the best in our abilities to reach it. For me at least, I have wanted to work in the screen industry and potentially get a job as an editor. Whenever I'm in the process of writing a script or even editing, I struggle to find a perfectly valid reason for completing the next task. It's always going to be one of those things that restrain me from being able to be productive. And that of course is going to happen to everyone, no doubt about it. There's this mechanism in our minds in which whenever we can't think of something to do, or if we find something to be really difficult for ourselves to conceive, or if I can't find an idea that I can work off, then I would just say to myself, this is gonna be hard. This is gonna be really hard. And then just go off and procrastinate, in which a lot of people, especially students at school, do right now. But the stigma in which makes us lazy, as a way to put it, is that we often struggle to find something productive to do or struggle to find any ideas. But it's okay because, random ideas can suddenly come out of nowhere. Sometimes the best ideas can come out whenever you least expect it. Just imagine you're sleeping in bed and then the cogs in your consciousness start to turn, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you wake up and go, "Ferb, I know what we're gonna do today." And then all of a sudden you just go out and do it. And I think no matter how dumb, they might seem on the surface, it's still worth just going out there and trying it. Because you never know, trying new things could work out just as well as you least expected. All of us have that mindset of getting straight to our long-term goals without having to go over the hurdles that would be in our way to get there. And it's not really good to have that mindset, and the best way to go about it is to just stick with your short-term goals that we've set ourselves. Just sort of go back to square one and try and think of something really basic to do to try and get there. I think that's probably the best way to go. Just going into the subject of video production in general, which is sort of my ambitions in life. They say that watching enough videos could help inspire you, but sometimes I kind of argue it can sort of demotivate you. I always stumble across videos on my recommended section on YouTube that looks unpromising and really unappealing to me just based on the thumbnail and the title alone. And the fact that this type of content is really oversaturated on YouTube makes me not want to make videos at all. And that's a really big demotivation factor to me. And another big one could probably be the opposite of that. And that's watching videos that I would think I considered good. I would consider really entertaining and enjoyable. Anytime I would watch other people's videos and see all the hard work and dedication and all the commitment and time put into this so-called masterpiece, I would go out and think to myself, "Oh, they're so good. What am I even doing? Why can't I be as good as them?" Yeah, just that mentality kind of gives me an unhealthy habit of striving to be as good or even better than them. And by doing the same thing as they do is really not the best direction to go. And it's actually kind of happened to me on occasion. And even seeing the success of others could be another contribution to this. Especially if you consider their content not serving much in terms of value, which makes you think they're not deserving of their success. Like, I can think of many examples up in my head. Just seeing the success of people that don't deserve, the number of subscribers that they've got or the number of viewers that they've got because their content, in my opinion, looks really shit or just looks really poor in terms of quality. It just makes me want to quit YouTube altogether. At times, I would struggle to find a complete project set I would want to put out simply for the purpose of you guys to enjoy. I've written a script for a video which by the time it came to editing, I've just kind of struggled to make it work. This would include trying to find the right visuals and B-roll that I would usually source online, hence why I've decided to scrap it. And the more and more trouble I found with making the video, the less productive I felt and the less motivated I was to get in the creative headspace. It was just draining. Since I've spent a good amount of time on writing that, and because I've wasted time leaving that video abandoned and feeling bad about wasting my efforts on that video, and the feeling of not releasing it to you guys, which would inevitably put pressure on myself to find other ideas. And it would also sort of make me feel that I'm kind of letting you guys down for not delivering sort of top tier content or something. I don't know. But for real, I don't really see you guys expecting top tier content from me. But for real, all this pressure piled up on top of me made me felt like I've only furthered my demotivation for this. And this is something I would usually do during my time in school, where I just did not find the motivation, nor I could be bothered to study, because I just wasn't interested in the subjects which was compulsory for me to study. Man, school didn't provide me with any opportunities. Stuff you, school. But anyway, getting back on track. Whenever I do get stuck on something, I procrastinate. And I mean, who doesn't from time to time? And the more and more time I procrastinate, I felt really bad for myself. And this would go back to the bit of pressure I'd put on myself to try and impress the audience that I'm trying to entertain. But thankfully I haven't gone as far as to spend hours upon hours on a video. I try to sleep as much as I could. I try to keep, a good sleeping schedule. And it's a good way to rationalize my mindset when it comes to being productive. And I'm sure whatever I release to you, you might find some enjoyment out of it, no matter how it turns out. And even though I'm still grateful for that, I'm really appreciative of your support for this channel. But I want to release something that I'm somewhat happy with. Something that would kind of meet my own criteria, and that criteria might not be the same as how you guys see it. Something to keep in mind, the motivation and passion put in for something would definitely affect the outcome of the project. Because if you lack the passion and just don't put as much care and dedication into it, then it would heavily affect the final outcome. And every now and then, that was where I would see that project not coming along very nicely. However, something that will always instigate motivation will be you guys. Your feedback and support for this channel will always be appreciated, and the interaction on Twitter or Discord, whether it be in regards to my videos or even just my presence online, it's definitely something that makes this so-called YouTuber journey really worth it, and I cannot be more grateful of that, and I want to say thank you. If you're really struggling with something, whether it be homework or an assignment, even if you've just left something that was really important and mandatory up until the last minute, first of all, that was really cheeky of you. You shouldn't have done that. Now, the second, it's good to just step back from it all and just take a break, because enough time away from it can just give you a chance to reflect on what you've done and find how you can improve it. Because you never know, some random thought or some random solution could come up out of the blue, and that could be the best idea or solution you've ever come up with. However, wasting too much time will only push you back further and further. Try and keep getting used to working forward, and keeping a consistent workflow is always the best way to go. It's best to stop seeing everything as a competition by any means. We should work with whatever resources we currently have, no matter how cruddy they are. They're still going to be useful to build and expand your passion. In fact, I'm actually saving up for a new camera. Your standards on what's going to be good isn't going to be determined by anyone else. It depends on what you see as successful. It's nice to take inspiration and find a fresh, unique spin on it. And if you don't find a way, then that's okay. And if it doesn't work out the way you intended to, then explore other ideas. We learn from our first time doing things, so don't push yourself to be the greatest out there. It's most likely going to take a long time, but just keep working and take the steps you've already set for yourself smoothly and efficiently to reach whatever goal that's going to be the best for you.